System since 1999 in various capacities and currently serving Western Regional Business Manager for the Construction Positioning Division dedicated to the development of building and construction business segment, including BIM workflow processes in MEP, concrete and associated practices through the lake and field trip concept. And the topic is BIM field trip, utilizing layout solutions. Solutions that help contractors extend the value of building information model, or BIM, into the field and contact field information back to the model in the office. James would like to make a little introduction of Easy Drive.
Good. Thank you, Alamo. First, I want to thank the Alamo Area-BIM peer group for giving us the opportunity to do this. And especially thank you, Mel and Luis, who couldn't make it, for putting all the effort into this group. They do a great job. If you're not involved with BIM, you will be. It's a good idea to join. They have a lot of good speakers, a lot of good information. I mean, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. They've done a lot of the legwork for us already. Anyway, Easy Drive started in 1950, family-owned corporation. I believe we're the oldest continuously owned survey supply house in Texas and beyond. So we've been here a while, since 1950. We started on roofs over there with the manufacturing facility. Most of y'all in construction are very familiar with that. We still produce the highest quality wood stake in the known universe, I think. So that's still there. We still have a store over there. My mother still does the books over there. Then we have an Austin location where my brother and his wife run that location. And then we have this one here that Annette runs, and that's my wife. She does our marketing, advertising, and she also put together this presentation. So we appreciate that. You've already met most of our guys around here. Each one has a specific industry that they try to address, but being a small corporation, we all address everything. So John, Nick really is a surveyor's engineer, Victor's really construction, that's his focus. John stays in the office with Annette, so they get to do everything. All the technical support and all that. We're focusing today on Leica Geosystems, but that doesn't exclude all the other products that we carry. We also, in some way or another, are a Trimble dealer, Topcon dealer, Sokia dealer, Nikon dealer, Pentax, Carlson TDS, Microsurvey. We handle everything. This is our main focus because we feel like it's got the best overall view of the surveying industry and the best system for the long run. And you'll see why, because we have a lot to show you today. And some extra things at the end. So at the end, don't rush off. I want to show you something that'll give you an idea of the direction of the industry. But also, at the end, do try to get your name on her mailing list. And eat some pizza, play some toys, have fun. And I guess Keith is up. Who's up?
Matt's going to start.
Well, again, we, as James is just going to reiterate what James said, we are like a Geosystems dealer. We are the largest construction dealer in the Southwest. And like a Geosystems, I think one of the customers came in and said, well, what does camera company have to do with, what do they know about instruments? Well, their optics are superior, and they actually are one portion of the Hexagon Corporation, which actually is a multifaceted corporation that owns quite a few conglomerates. DigiCAD, the
Brown and Sharp,
Intergraph,
and more.
and Microsurvey.
And we're happy to incorporate these particular product lines, and because we feel that the product is more comprehensive and really does do a good job of integrating our field software, our office software, into the BIM, into the field layout software. So anyway,
And just to give you a little bit of background of Leica, Leica is probably most commonly known for our cameras, but that's one, used to be a different division. There used to be 3 different divisions. Leica Camera, Leica Geosystems, which is us, and Leica Microsystems, which is microscopes and things like that. There used to be 3 divisions under one umbrella. Now it's 3 separate companies. So they're owned by different people. We're owned by Hexagon, as he said, and everybody else. But Leica actually got our start in surveying. Most of the people that have learned how to survey 20, 30, 40 years ago learned on a Wild T2. Wild, we used to own Wild. Wild and Kern used to be Leica companies. Leica's camera used to be Light's camera, so that's how they got the Leica name, is they combined those, and they combined several of those different divisions, but all the Wild and Kern were brought into Leica. But most of the technology that we see today in surveying equipment, we invented. So yeah, we've been in the survey business since the 1800s. So we've been around for a long time.
Our Leica product line is comprehensive. However, we do have 2 major focuses. We have a green line, which actually focuses on the surveyors and surveyor software, so to speak. And then we have the yellow line, which is actually more into the BIM integration, and it's more of a construction oriented. The data collectors are a little bit a larger frame. They have a more user-friendly, graphic user-friendly interface. They're more of a vertical, easier vertical line of product line for our construction market. But as you see, we have the green on one side and the yellow on the other, and so we pretty much integrate the presentation is going to have a little bit of both, so to speak, you know. But and so I have some videos. We're going to talk to you about it. If y'all have any questions, please just ask us. And Keith is our resident expert, but we have some cool videos and some images to show y'all. So here we go. Hopefully. Sure did. Press play. What? Press play. How you doing? Sure did. Don't touch it.
Patience.
Building Information Modeling, BIM, is a proven process that keeps projects on time and on budget, reducing rework and increasing predictability and profitability. BIM has a solid return on investment, with a 40% reduction in field changes, contract savings of 10%, and project time reduced by 7%. Moving from 2-dimensional plan coordination to 3D model coordination is usually the first step. This allows contractors to spot and resolve potential problems. However, to fully maximize what BIM can do, it's important to connect the digital world with the real world. And Leica Geosystems can help. We are bridging the gap, taking BIM out of the office and into the field, and vice versa. Say hello to the BIM Field Trip, a comprehensive solution with hardware and software components that increases the BIM benefits for contractors. With renovation and retrofit jobs, the BIM Field Trip provides the most accurate field data using high-definition scanners to capture point clouds and total stations to capture discrete measurement points. Construction is then based on reality and not on outdated or inaccurate data. For new construction, the BIM Field Trip uses total station and multi-station technology to replicate BIM layout points in the field, providing accurate, real-world implementation. This paint-by-numbers approach is not only easy, but also very precise, unlike traditional, error-prone tools like paper drawings, tape measures, and plumb bobs. The BIM Field Trip technology offers a superior quality assurance solution with innovative multi-station technology that combines construction point layout and high-definition as-built scanning in a single hardware solution. As-built quality assurance point clouds are compared to the model to assess systems like MEP, providing insight critical to validating that buildings are being constructed as designed. Evaluating potential issues avoids rework in the field. Whether you are at a beginner, intermediate, or full service level of working with BIM processes, We'll help you explore all the benefits of a BIM field trip so you can lower waste, work more efficiently, reduce costs, increase profit margins, and maintain greater project safety.
So the three levels of the BIM field trip here that they're talking about, 101 would be paper plans, taking paper plans out in the field, and it's not true BIM. It's just the way we've always done things. 102 would be the people that are doing CAD work, and they're doing everything in a two-dimensional format. Then it's just taking 2D points and taking them out in the field, and even though there might be elevational differences between those 2D points, we're still working in a 2D format. And then the level 103 there is full three-dimensional BIM off of Revit models and that kind of thing. We take those things, we point them up and set them out in the field in a 3D format, a true 3D format, and that's kind of the top end of the scale there.
So we know that BIM, in your office, you originate with either 2D or 3D coordinate files or files. Those files can either be created by the Leica scanner or any cloud point data, Revit, most of y'all use CAD, and we can take those type of files and export them from ASCII, DWGs, or DXF files and import them into our field coordinate in our field layout software and create coordinate files. And I know that most of y'all use AutoCAD layout to do it, but we also sell microsurvey point prep, which is also, and that's what I'm going to show you right here.
Microsurvey point prep is compatible with AutoCAD DWG and DXF drawing files and contains tools for easily adding points to a drawing file. I'm going to isolate the layers that I'm interested in. And I'm going to use the Add Points to CAD Lines and Arcs command.
I apologize, it's black. You can't see some of the data there.
Just window around all of the visible line work. And I'm going to run the unisolate to bring back the previous layers. Points are instantly created at the end of every line and at the center point of every arc, and we can view these coordinates in the points database.
So you can see the entire process is very simple, and what it does is it gives us our points down in order to import into our data collector. And
then the nice thing about this program here is it doesn't require AutoCAD. It works outside of AutoCAD. So you don't need AutoCAD. You can have this program here, and you can take the DWG file, and you can strip away everything you need. The mechanical guys are going to want to have one layer, and the electrical are going to have another. So you can strip out all those layers that you don't need, and just pick the ones that you want to, and isolate that from all the rest, and then window everything, and apply points to all that layer, and then send them out to the field, either to the microsurvey or one of the instruments out there. So it makes it really easy to get those points from that two-dimensional drawing out to the field.
But the drawing, the DWG file here shown, is that 2D DWG or 3D DWG?
it can be
It's
either,
2D, yeah.
but it's 2D what we were
Yeah,
talking
point
about.
prep only works in 2D. Now, that 2D file can have elevation differences, but if you were to turn it up on its side, it wouldn't have any relief. It would just look like a flat line. Okay, so it's not a true 3D model. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What it seems to be is most important and to be a real stickler to is identifying those control points on your files, in your plans, and being able, the ones that are most important to the guys out in the field. And by that, it's just identifying those particular control points. A lot of people would say make a control line and those 2 points that are needed, and they work off of that control point. Then you can export those particular points to that field layout software. Want to talk about that? I know you're big on that, Keith.
Yeah, that's one of the true challenges with the BIM process is marrying the survey data to the building data. Is how do we get that survey data that might be on state planer, it's on a different coordinate system. How do we get it to match our building coordinate system? We can either do it this way and match their system, or we can do it the other way. But there's processes within the Autodesk point layout that will do that. We call it marrying those two coordinate systems. So it's just matching the two coordinate systems. Point Prep does it to a degree, but not as well as the APL, the Autodesk point layout. That's kind of the critical path on the BIM process, is getting those two on the same page, or else you're going to build a building in the wrong place, which is not usually very good.
So once again, you export as ASCII or DXF or DWGs, and we import them into our field layout. And my controller guys are supposed to be standing up there with controllers to show y'all what they are. And they are, we actually have a different format, and we usually have quite a few CST10s, but actually we sold everything this week. So it's like clearing us out. But this right here is a 61. It's a small handheld computer. It's Windows Professional 7. It can import DXS and DWGs into the field layout either as background images or as coordinate points. It can produce coordinate points by either, and just coordinate points, that's some of the screenshots there. It can go into our total stations, it creates more accurate, the total stations, robots, just about anything really, GPS. And so the bottom part is SmartWorks, it's the green, which the surveyors use. It's basically the same thing. And what we're lucky with SmartWorks as well is you can go into particular field softwares, and just by zeroing in or arrowing through, you can create and as you can see, it tells you to the right or to the left to find those points. The surveyors, I look at Alan and I know, come on Alan, you can tell.
The tablet over there it's a full Windows 7 tablet. So
it is a Windows. It uses a software on there called Sketch, and I mean we can sketch. It uses a software called Site, and it also has Build. Allows you to you're able to do your calculating as far as azimuths and your distance.
Cut and fill and
gives you all your cut and fills. It's pretty neat software, very user friendly for a lot. A lot of people say it's a lot for kind of like beginners and stuff, but it's very user friendly and stuff like that. But it allows you, it's a big screen, allows you to import, your DXFs, and you're able to see your drawings. And,
so as you can see, there's a lot of different ways of originating coordinate files for the field. It makes you more accurate. It makes you get what you want. It makes you put that plan exactly where you want it, and instead of correcting mistakes, you're figuring it out ahead of time, and it makes you much more efficient, more productive. So there's different ways of getting it. As Victor said, we can actually generate coordinate files from inside software, from SmartWorks in the green line to Builder Site or Field Genius in our yellow, or our construction. So what we're going to show you here is how simple that process really is. We think. But,
this video explains how to use the Sketch application to import point-and-line data directly into iConstruct field software. In this case, utilizing some sketching functions to draw a 2D building plan. Start by selecting Sketch from the application's container. This is the Sketching Functions button. There are 6 sketching functions to select from. This video will focus on points and lines, arcs, and point creation. After selecting points and lines, the Points and Lines tools populate the toolbox. After changing the sketching function to point creation, for example, the toolbox displays the point creation tools, so the selected sketching function defines the contents of the toolbox. Factor points and lines, point pilot is described. Point pilot acts made for defining the angle value of the next point. Just tap on the relevant segment. It's a lot quicker than inputting the angle manually. New point feature can be used to define the starting point of the sketch. The info panel advises to enter coordinates, which is done by tapping on the text box, enabling the on-screen keyboard. This button in the top right navigates directly to the next text input field, which in this case is Norvin. I'll enter 1 there and 0 for height. A point can actually be created without a height, but it's a good idea to enter a height value so that these points could then be used later, maybe in stakeout or volumes. In the map screen, the point is displayed in blue. Blue indicates it's not stored yet, it's just a proposal. It's possible to edit the input data or press the green check mark to actually store the point. Once the point is stored, it is shown in grey, and the point pilot is placed on top of it, ready for the next point to be created. Continue sketching by tapping in the point pilot to change the angle, defining the distance and height, then pressing the green accept key. That point has now been stored. The point pilot is displayed above it. Again, use the point pilot to change the next angle, input the distance, press accept, and a further point is stored. It's a very simple process of choosing the angle, defining the distance, and pressing accept.
Again, this is 2D.
As far as the layout goes, a lot of guys love using it. Let's say
It's possible to use the
or
point
if
pilot
you
to
go out
launch
and you want to
complete
draw
the
on the
sketch.
field.
I'll show another
It's
sketch.
a pretty easy
instead.
function. If I know guys setting out
Creation
corners
tool,
for
angle
a slab or anything like
used
that,
to close
if
off
you have a
the
set of
sketch.
plans, you can simply just
Select
draw
on
them in
new
and then go
sketch.
stake them pretty easily.
Creation.
You can have coordinates that that are predetermined that you can fill in.
And select
You have a particular set of points in northing and easting. You can enter them manually, or you can bring them in as a
Follow the
file.
info panel
But after that,
select the
pretty
first
simply,
point,
you can go
the
in
second
from those
point,
points,
intersection.
you can create offsets, and then from there, just go and
The
stake
intersected
out all
point,
within minutes.
Based upon these
We sell these,
configurable angle values,
a lot of
shown
site
in
work
green.
guys, concrete guys love this stuff
Choose
because
whether
it's
or
so
not
easy
to
to
draw a line
use.
to that point.
And
Then
the
press
amount of
the green
time
accept key
that
to store.
it takes as opposed to pulling
Again,
tape
the point is stored in
or
grey.
using some like a transit
That was
to
the
get
point
lined
creation
out to
tool,
set
and the
corners.
intersection.
It's so much faster, and either with the GPS or the robotics,
Each is simple to use as
makes
ever.
it real simple.
It's also really handy for, even if you're bringing in your models from electronically from a CAD file or from a Revit model, particularly with the concrete guys, they'll get out in the field and they need to put offsets or in their setbacks. They have to put some more points out there. With the offset routine, we can very quickly go into that CAD file and we can add offsets. We want to put a 2-foot offset from the drawing. You just pick the lines that you want to and it'll give you a 2-foot offset. So they can do some adjustments in the field. Now, we don't want guys doing drafting, the full drafting in a BIM project in the field, but if you want to add to it, or some of the concrete guys, they have to make some adjustments out in the field. We had one guy, we do a lot of work with the pipe fitters union, and the pipe fitters union, they're of course the P and MEP, and they'll most of the times they get their jobs in an electronic format. But he says a lot of times they'll have projects where he says I just have to line out 4 or 5 different lines, and I have to wait for the detailer to get it out of the CAD and bring it to me and send it to me. He said it can be a week. With this, I can sketch it out and I can get it done in an hour. Whereas before, I'd have to wait for the detailer and things like that. So that sketching feature really does bring some handy things for people in the field to use for the people in the field. So.
We can also generate 2D or 3D in varying other programs in the field. Microsurvey layout, the MEP can also bring in 3D images, and we can go in and set out points.
Microsurvey layout includes 4 specific MEP routines. Once you've established your instrument on your job site, You can enable the MAP mode by going to the settings and clicking this button right here called Enable Auto Location. You can then start using the MAP routines. For example, point 21, we rotate our project into a 3D view, and this was a DXF file that I imported with some points. You're going to see point 21 here is up in the area, and that's because it just has an elevation of 0. So this building here is not really referenced to a datum of 0. So 0 happens to be at this point 21. And what I want to do is I want to project that point down onto the floor and then onto the ceiling in this room. And to do that, we're just going to select the point, stake it, and we're going to start with locating the point on the ceiling. So what microsurvey layout will do is it'll use the motors on the total station, and it'll start taking measurements, in this case on the ceiling, and through an iterative process, it'll find that plane and then intersect that point and locate it on the ceiling. If you rotate into 3D view here, you can easily see that that point is on the ceiling in this room. And this is one of the nice features in microsurvey layout, and this is the fact that you can view into a 3D view and just confirm that that location is correct. We want to lay it out on the floor. And now the instrument is rotating. And it's going to start taking measurements and find the floor. And because I'm in a small room here, that has to take a couple shots here because it actually started shooting shots on the door, and now it's found the floor and it's going to find our location for us. We rotate into a 3D view. And you can see now this point is on the floor instead of on the floor. And then just using the laser dot from the total station, I can go and mark that point on the floor. Another MEP specific feature is the pipe penetration routine. I'm just going to pick point 20, start the stakeout routine, and this time use the pipe through wall. I want to define the other endpoint of my line. And I could also just pick an existing line in this project, but I'm just going to do it using 2 points. And then the next step is to point the laser pointer on the wall that you want to intersect the pipe with. So I'm just moving the instrument, just so it's pointed at the wall that I want to auto-locate the pipe penetration. And now the instrument is iterating to a solution. And as you can see here again, here's the red line is the pipe that we're trying to locate. And you're going to see it's found the intersection here on the wall for us. We can just store it, continue. We can store that point if we like. And now I'm just going to point to the opposite wall in my office. And just use the auto-locate routine. Zoom out. You can see it's found the other location here on the other wall. We'll store that. And cancel. Another.
I know we can show you more software.
So
on
does that make sense what that's doing there? So basically we can project a point from the floor or the ceiling no matter what the elevation change is of that ceiling. If the ceiling's going like this, with the laser dot, if it's higher than what our base elevation is, that dot's going to put the dot over here someplace. So it calculates what that ceiling height is and it puts the dot in the right place. So if I'm a contractor up on a lift truck putting hangers in the ceiling, I can locate it with just the laser beam, not a rod. I can locate it with the laser beam and then hit it. It'll put the point where I need to be, drill it, move to the next one, and it'll automatically index to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and put it in the right place no matter what's going on with the elevation of the ceiling or the floor. And the pipe one is also kind of cool. If I've got beams that I have to drill to pass a pipe through, I got a T over there in a pipe and a T over there in a pipe, and I've got to pass it through all the beams between them. I can use that auto locate feature on the walls to show me where I need to drill. So it's just a matter of spotting it out. So that's this is a new feature. This is pretty handy for those guys in the field that are up on lift trucks.
There's other ways of getting coordinate files into the field, and I think this is probably more to a lot of people that work in offices. This is a little bit more convenient, so to speak, more affordable as well. The Leica Disto is the 330i, and it can actually generate a 2D or a 3D CAD file, and to export into AutoCAD. Or the 3D Disto actually can create a 3D model that can be exported directly into a cutting machine that uses it as a template for fast and machine cutting. I think
This is the 330i right here. Like she said, this is probably one of the cheapest items, so it's not going to kill your wallet. These are great for, virtually, if you're doing takeoffs, if you're doing just measuring on a construction site. It's got a lot of cool features. It's got a Bluetooth button here that, like she was saying, you can sync it up with your computer if you got a laptop or you got some type of software out in the field on an iPad or any type of tablet. It will directly communicate with that program. So in your software, you can assign a length or a segment that you want to measure. Go ahead and measure it, and it'll send it directly into that software and assign it to that drawing that you've got there. There's also apps that go with it. You can get an app for your iPhone, you can get iPad, whatever you got, that you can download. It's free and it's by Leica. And you can go in there and you can sketch, let's say, the outline of a room, and then go in and each little section that you've drawn, you can tap, measure it with the disto, and then of course hit the Bluetooth button, and it will send that to the actual software, and you can create a drawing. It's great. It can do areas, it can do volumes, hidden lines. You can, it's got an inclinometer on it, so if you need to find out the height of a building or a telephone pole, anything like that, it's really simple, really easy to use, and pretty affordable. There's a couple additional ones that instead of having just a simple screen like this, they've got touch screen. We got a video of one that's pretty cool that she's going to show you. But they've got a lot of awesome functions, and especially for those of you that need to do any type of volume takeoffs or any type of estimating for a particular job site. It's a great investment, and we'll show you a little bit more on what that video can do.
Will that work if you don't even have a drone?
I'm sorry?
Well, I guess does it sync with any program? It doesn't matter what kind of drawing program you have, or it has to be a particular drawing program provided by Leica.
There's one. No, it doesn't have to be. Like she said, one of them is particular to.
this one particularly exports to AutoCAD. So, and it also exports to different. Once you get into a DXF file or a DWG file, you can export it in any CAD software.
So
But this one actually has a program that comes with it to export to AutoCAD.
So if I don't have a drone, I just get a call, owner says, I need you to walk this sign, and give me an estimate a week. I go there, take a measurement, I don't have a drone. So I bring this with me, shooting the points. You will also just bring the sketch or the points, then for me to connect the
Correct.
point to make the sketch
Yeah,
on
let's say,
AutoCAD.
Let's say, would you be able to?
It will actually draw the box in AutoCAD. If you have a
Okay.
laptop or something out in the field, there's a transfer protocol that works within AutoCAD
Yeah.
itself.
And it's very
There's a-
simple.
we
And
don't
these
have that video
right
here,
here
but
are
there's video online.
$300.
And they do through Bluetooth instead of Wi-Fi. So even
That's
if you
true.
don't have wireless service just to get.
For that reason alone, because most job sites probably don't have some type of Wi-Fi setup, so you can, it's gonna Bluetooth to your phone, your tablet, or a laptop as well.
I'll show you, this may explain a little bit.
And this is the 810, which is pretty cool.
And they drive cool cars. Knew y'all would like that. Yeah. That's what all.
Tennis shoes?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, he says on the job.
That's what I'm saying.
But he swims. Yeah, there you go, guys. It's old technology.
Everyone's gotta get one of those.
Started lighting, that's what was being sold, $1,800. So,
So he just did like a rough sketch, physical properties whatsoever, just a visual of what it looks like. And then it's part of this.
Well, you know, I'm going for glitz here. But you get the idea that yes, you can. It's fairly simple. This particular, I love this one. I was showing it the other day, and I had one up till a couple of days ago, and they bought it. But it is $800, but it has slope. It has so many functions. I was impressed, and it does go very instantly into it. You can drag and drop, and you can do a drag and drop on your computer. It's
So
awesome.
the sketch that on the iPad, is that a app come with the
Yeah, that
the
like
D810 or it's
Yeah.
It's the Like a
any
Disco
sketch?
app that's free. I mean, you can download it right now and actually take pictures and play with it. You
Yeah.
can actually take pictures of what you're trying to measure and draw lines on whatever it is that you're
And use your
measuring.
phone.
And if you don't like that app, if you go to the Like a Disco site, there's a listing of about 100 apps that different people are using around the world for each specific function. And you can, and it itemizes what you're doing and how it fits. You may want to go look at that because there may be better software for what you're trying to do.
Well, I guess another thing I noticed is that iPad is a Mac system, is Apple system. But on his screen, when you go back to his office, it was Windows 8. It was a PC system. So what this tells me is that a perfectly integrate that two world, the Mac world and the PC world.
That's correct.
Oh,
You can
you're the
actually-
Disto guy.
You can take pictures, and once you sketch it out, you can export it out to PDF. So,
PDF,
both Mac
right.
and PC, accept PDF.
Okay. The 3D, and also, well, I'll show you.
forklift robotic total station. That's about half the price of a robot.
And you don't have to use it with that small controller that it's using. You can use it with a PC with the right field software on there. So that micro survey layout that we showed earlier, you're able to run the 3D disto with that software.
You have a 3D model that you can come in and put points and coordinate files in it for your field to export to for your field guides. Cloud point data, which is probably more than what everyone here is interested in, the 3D imaging systems. We offer offers a P20 and a C10. I have a scanner guy over here, and they output cloud point data files to be imported to CloudWorks. And CloudWorks is actually like a family of products, which actually provide plugins for CAD programs that are already existing, like AutoCAD, MicroStation, PDS, which is I'm not familiar with PDMS, but it is a family of software that Leica offers. And that's a P20 right there. Can you tell us a little about it?
Okay. Right now, Leica is actually producing 5 different scanners. That's the top of the line right there, the flagship P20. There's a C10 under that, C5. Then there's a couple under that are phase-based. These are all time of flight. You'll hear that a lot from people. There's different technologies for different applications. This is actually a combination of time of flight and phase, which Leica developed with waveform digitizing, getting too technical. But anyway, what it does basically is measure twice to every point. And so in the field, you get more accurate results, and you don't get, like on a job site, you wouldn't get a lot of cloud noise from dust and stuff like that. Anyway, this scanner, Leica makes surveying instruments, not scanners. As opposed to, let's say, a Arrow who makes scanners, and there's a big difference, okay? This scanner has all the features of a surveying instrument. It's got a detachable tri-brac. It's got dual compensators for forward and back, left and right, which allows it to do traverse and resection in the field, which you can't do with an Arrow or with other scanners. I won't pick on Arrow. This also has an optical plummet laser, which some of the other scanners won't do that, so you can't even start off over a point. It takes regular surveying accessories. You can take the handle off, you can put a prism up there, you can locate this point with a robot, or you can put a GPS unit up there and locate it with GPS. This is a totally self-contained unit. It comes with 2 batteries, give you an 8-hour day. It's a touchscreen user interface here, very user-friendly. It scans 360 degrees around, 260 degrees this way. That's why when you see these cloud points, like in TrueView or something, you always see a black hole where the scanner was, and this can't scan through itself. It's here. Other than that, you have a 360 degree view all the way around. It scans at a rate of 1 million coordinate points per second. That's the data that it's picking up. That's a lot of information. You can imagine the size of the file, but that's what it takes to get the kind of definition and accuracy I want to do. Like I said, this is a surveying instrument, like it makes surveying instruments. Because of that, if you're familiar with total stations, Alan, I'm sure, understands there's an electronic procedure to take out the errors that are inherently built into any mechanical machine, because you cannot build anything perfectly when it comes down to that micro measurement. Anyway, this has, because of the compensators and other surveying features in it, has a self-check and adjust feature, which it can calibrate itself in the field. Other scanners can't do that. Some of the features that Leica has that others don't. Got a built-in 5 megapixel camera, which is coaxial. In other words, it originates from the same point that the beam originates. So when you're doing your true views, you're actually seeing what the beam is seeing. There's some others on the market where they're not, they're offset, or they have a camera attachment on top. Doesn't give you the actual registration that you need. Because of the compensators, you can geo-reference this a lot easier, and you can tie your scans together in the field, sometimes without targets. If you don't have that versatility with being able to get over point number one and having dual axis compensation, you have to geo-reference these things in the office, or you have to have a ton of targets out in the field. So you're wasting a lot of time in the field trying to set up for your next scan, where this you could just traverse along because of what it has in there. For a lot of architects, they don't care because they're not, like surveyors, you want to be on a coordinate system, right? And that's the way they work. Architects, you may just want to scan the building, get something, replication from a couple of points, a couple of different views, and you have a floating in space picture of the building, and that's fine. So there's a different instrument for every body, basically. But the more sophisticated you get, the bigger your scans are, the longer you travel. You're going to want more features, and this is the Cadillac version. This scanner runs about 170 to 150, depending on the software that you buy.
I know that's pocket change to you guys. And they've come out with a new line also. It's called multi-station, which will scans, and now it is a scanner and a total station. But it doesn't. It does not incorporate the entire 360. What you do is you window an area, which can be effective as well, and then you piece those scans together. And it does offer a multi-station orchestration that can be a total station and a scanner as well.
And Leica does also make a version of this that they take out the compensator, they take out some of the other features and make it a good surveying instrument, and it runs in the $50,000 range. But most surveyors, after they've done this a while, will turn back to this because it's saving them time in the long run.
But this creates true 3D images.
This was invented in a couple of guys, Ben Casera and Jerry Dimsdale, back in '93, got the concept that they could make this happen. It wasn't until 1998 that they actually got a patent and a product, and they were working closely with Leica back then. And in 2001, Leica purchased, it was called Syra, and their first instrument was called a Cyrax 2500. So in 2001, Leica bought them out and got into the scanner. Well, Ben Casera took his profits and went off and started a company called, or a nonprofit organization called SciArc. And if any of y'all are interested in history, SciArc is a digital, what would you call it? It's an archive of all the historical sites, as many as they can get. So it's a virtual models of every historical site to try to preserve it for education, preservation, and in a lot of cases reconstruction, because Ben Casera was from the Middle East, and a lot of those places where he grew up, he went and scanned and have since then been destroyed. So these images, it's a neat site. If you go to SciArc, it's a noble effort to preserve, the past. That's just kind of an interesting side note, but if y'all are interested in history, it's a place to go. Some neat stuff there.
So don't dismay. You can rent it.
Yeah, we do offer rentals. A lot of times it's easier just to offer the service. So we have a couple of surveyors that we work through who will go out and do the scans for you. And they'll stop at whatever point you want. If you just want the cloud point data, they can stop there. If you want to process it, they can stop there. It's a lot easier way to step into the technology without spending the whole money up front. I can't say this though, everybody that has bought a scanner from us has already bought another one. And when they bought the first one, they're like, oh my God, we'll never use it. We'll never get our money out of it. But most of them are on their second and third. I mean, it pays for itself. And you find ways to make it pay for itself. The major benefit is that you're going to replicate the same accurately. At 50 meters, this is actually discrete millimeter. So they take the scan, they do the survey in the office.
Do you also offer the service of modeling actually in CAD?
Yes. Some of them will do that, but a lot of people just want the raw data and they'll do it themselves. But like I said, we have probably a dozen people that are willing to do the work that have been doing it for a long time. We have a lot of equipment, different equipment, different types of work. Every job may require something a little different. It's all based on reflectivity. So, you know, if you had a coal mine with a bunch of black coal, you're not going to get good results with this scanner. It's going to take a different one. But again, it's a balance of cost versus productivity.
Done? More?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
And now we're just showing you cool videos, right?
Yeah, that's a large scan. You'll notice the black dots.
Wait, don't touch it. It's gonna take a little bit to load. It's a little complex of a file.
This is a P20 scan of a castle in New Jersey. Can you believe that?
So when you move to another area, it doesn't go ahead and fill in that black dot?
It can.
These aren't overlapping regions. These are farther out. So if they're overlapping, it'll fill in that dot.
Okay.
Let me say this though, because it has the compensators, even though this is a large area and I said 3 millimeters per 50 yards, 50 meters accuracy, when you're tying your scans together, because of the compensators in here, it geo-references and corrects as it goes. It ties everything in tighter. So from one end of this project to the other, the accuracy is incredible. But without targets? Without targets. You can do it with targets to make it even tighter, but the registration and the geo-referencing is pretty much automatic. A lot of people put in targets because they want control. So you're going to put, like you always put in control points before you even went out there so you can tie it to a coordinate system in the first place. And yes, you can see it from all angles. And a lot of times it makes it easier to clean up the cloud data.
So with that one, with the optical plummet, you could go out and really only have 2 or 3 targets, knowing that you're setting up over a physical point.
Right. And you could always take this out, it's got a detachable drive rack, you can take it out, move it to your next point, and use this as the backside. Or a force fight before you got there. And this also, you can run this Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, I should say Bluetooth, but you know, we have Leica controllers, or you can use a laptop notebook, or you can use an iPhone. There's an app for it, and control it from there. That's pretty, this is gigabyte WLAN. And for data out, it's got a thumb drive, and it also has 356 gigs on board.
Well, you need a lot. I mean, like say you're taking 1 million some shots a second.
So that's about what we have for you, but we would like to leave you with some resources that actually we want to just show you a little bit. We didn't go too much into any one thing. I hope it kind of gives you an overview of of options that you have. But we want to leave you with a little bit of resources. I mentioned Leica My World. some of you already have Leica equipment, so you can go in and sign up your equipment by adding your products, get a full and find out what software that's running, where it should be, where you should be upgrading when your CCPs are over. It also has the BIM Learning Center, which is a new site for Leica. It's got a lot of great videos on it. It's got teaching videos. Of course, YouTube, if you look up Microsurvey or Leica, there's a whole BIM thing going on right now. We have Leica webinars, which are, for the most part, if you go to My World, you don't have to have owned Leica equipment. You can go to My World and find out what's going on there. We have a big conference that's coming up. It's called Hexagon, which we can take customers. David, want to go? To Hexagon Conference, which is really the largest conference in Vegas, right? That they have, except for ConExpo. And it shows all the highlights of the Hexagon parent corporation, not just Leica. Microsurvey has a training facility in Canada if you'd like to take but they also have online classes that you can sign up for, and they're free of charge. And of course, there's always us, that you can call us at any time and we can try to help you out the best we can. This is, again, another CloudPoint data file, which shows you what's capable inside a building. But we thank you very much for coming. Keith.
I just want to add one thing, because there's kind of a new dynamic in the market, so we didn't talk a lot about it, but because it's relatively new. But, there was a program out there called Get the Point. If anybody's ever heard of Get the Point software.
Dennis Burrow, I think he was working with them. Most of y'all probably know him.
And he was working for them. They just recently got bought out by Autodesk. So what this Get the Point, now it's a program from Autodesk called APL, AutoCAD Point Layout. That's a plug-in that works inside a Revit. So it allows you to do the same thing we did with the Point Prep program, to attach points to a 3D model in the Revit world. So it actually works in 3D in three-dimensional Revit files. So you can do everything you can do with Revit. It's just another ribbon bar that works within Revit and allows you to point it out and set it out in the field. We can set it out in the field. We can work with any of these instruments right here, work with the output files from the APL software. That is now something that Autodesk, I think Turner's probably an Autodesk enterprise partner.
Yep.
So you probably will get it as soon as they release it to the open market.
So they haven't been actually officially released that?
Yeah, they'll release it right now. The way AutoCAD does when they buy a company, as I understand it, is they evaluate the program to see its viability in the market before they release it to the general public. But Turner, as an enterprise partner, will probably get the APO program. But for the other people, it's available. We're an AutoCAD or a reseller for it, so you can get it to us, so we can bundle it into any of these software programs here. But if you know Revit, you'll pick that up in 15 minutes. It's very easy to attach points to a Revit model and send it out to the field. So it's huge.
So they just bought out Get the Point. So pretty much the same as Get the Point. It's just now
It
get
is
bought out.
exactly the same program as Get the Point. Now Autodesk won't endorse or do anything with any specific hardware manufacturer, so they're kind of a neutral player. We are an authorized reseller for that program. So, okay.
One last thing I wanted to talk about was the technology and the way that this whole thing is going. If anybody's been paying attention to the news, they know that you hear about drones, UAVs, blah, blah, blah. It's the news every day.
Be careful, y'all.
I'm not allowed to play with it because every time I play with something, she gets injured. So
it's my hair.
So I've been told. Anyway, Leica is teamed up. They bought AirBot this week. Somebody they were working with who has a hexagonal. They call them UASs now.
We try to get something
aerial
for
systems.
1,000
Anyway, Leica has gone with rotary type craft, the Hexabot, and they also have the Dragon 35, which is about from here to the wall, a small helicopter for doing LiDAR and stuff like that. It hasn't come down to the surveying industry yet. TopCon just this week, or TopCon is working with the UX5, which is a fixed wing for large scans mostly LiDAR as well. TopCon just this week announced a joint venture with a company to do fixed wing also. Regal Scanners just Friday announced a small scanner, weighs in at 9 pounds, that they're going to start incorporating into these. And it's not LiDAR, it's a scanner. So, I mean, we're getting there. And in fact, today, a company called ExactMap just announced a scanner. Actually, it's a LiDAR. I believe it is a rotary craft. And the LiDAR, the whole thing weighs 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds. And they're able to do it without GPS, just by geo-referencing their scans. It's not high accuracy, it's mainly for agriculture and mining and stuff like that. If you'll pay attention, this industry of that is really getting started. It's really being driven by agriculture more than anything. That's where the market is. You hear about it everywhere else, but ag is what's going to drive that industry. But that's the way it's all headed. Pretty soon you'll be able to program that to fly around in a building and scan the whole thing out. So I think it's going to be not too far in the future.
Right next to the instruments.
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
Watch it, Jeff. Hey, man, what are you doing there? You got styrofoam.
She was worried about me.
I look out, Jeff, I look out. I have.
There you go. I can see it.
Anyway, thank you very much for coming. We have, it's usually a lot easier to control.
It's actually pretty controllable.
Normally I'm better at it, I promise.
I think
It's a little
she's
bit
nervous.
easier. I'm super nervous to start. Normally I'm a lot better at it.
And we have copies, demo copies of the software that we're talking about. If you didn't get one,
It's better. You need this for a lot of different stuff.
take some pizza home.
Great.
And this is why the FFA was.
Yeah.
I'd like to give them back.